All right, we thank God. So, I mean, we are back to this conversation about illegal mining. It looks as if it's a perennial conversation. We have it from time to time. When everybody talks about it, then there's some seeming action taken. Then we see a marginal improvement. Everybody goes to rest, and then the issue or the canker rears its head again. We are at that point again, and it looks as though it's not that even looks as though our waters are getting worse when it comes to contamination. Are we doing enough to address this canker?
Absolutely not. Now, let's begin by establishing the fact that Galamsey, as we have chosen to call it, is an organized crime which has got an existential threat to our very survival as a people. Until we see it from this perspective, all that we are doing will be playing to the gallery. We are not tackling the issues from the root. And I think we failed ourselves as a people. Yes, the biggest responsibility would rest with the president. But then as a people, we failed ourselves woefully. From the national level to the local level, we failed. Our chiefs have failed us. Our political leaders, the district chief executives have failed us. The regional ministers have failed us. The politicians from both sides of the political divide have woefully failed us. So there is a failure. The national institutions, if you look at the police, they've been compromised. The military has been compromised. Every institution that has got anything to do with fighting this menace has failed. So let us make this admission. And then politically, there's a huge failure, because if we can have politicians, yes, there are people in government who are complicit in this, but if we also have people in opposition going around Galamsey side promising that the people will be allowed to continue their work if there should be a change of government, that is a huge failure. So now let us make this national admission. But of course, I put the biggest blame on the president. And then we should begin to reset as a nation, because it's affecting our health, it's affecting our economy, it's affecting a sector like agriculture. It is destroying water bodies. It is doing a huge damage. And we sit here, and sometimes you have some few individuals coming out. Oh, we have over 1 million people involved in Galamsey. And so what? If there are even 30 million of about 33 million Ghanaians involved in Galamsey, and it is affecting us to this level, so we should stop it. What's wrong with that? And people can have the guts to say, if you stop Galamsey, we'll not vote for you. Of course, in the last election, 2020, we saw that in the areas where Galamsey is predominant, if you look carefully, the ruling party lost a lot of votes in those areas. But should election alone be the basis? Where is the pledge from the president that he will put his presidency on the line? If it means failing, if he can fight this menace. So it's a failure all around. But we have to reset. We can't throw our hands in the air and say it's over. We must find solutions to the problem.
And in the rethinking and re-strategizing to address this canker head on, what exactly can we do differently? Because we have done the ban, we have talked about community mining to make people mine more responsibly. Among many other things, we don't seem to have, made significant progress. So, in rethinking and re-strategizing, what must be involved in it, and for us to see some progress?
Well, as I indicated, this is organized crime. So if you're going to fight organized crime, there must be varied strategies. But then I think, from my perspective, in local governance, I think this occurs at the local level. So let us decentralize the fight against galamsey. One of the key things I thought we should have been doing is to make the district chief executive, I mean the NMDC, it should be part of their performance. I mean, if we were to give them performance indicators, one of the key things is to see them leading the fight in their own areas. We are going to need a chief to support and community leaders, because every galamsey occurs within the jurisdiction of a chief and a district chief executive. If we are going to put the onus on them, that if we think there is galamsey going on in your area, you are complicit. If we can put the burden on the district and the divisional police commanders, that if we can find something happening in your area, these are the key people we are going to hold accountable. I think we'll be starting something. And I believe that we are getting to a stage that we must fight it as organized crime. I mean, countries are fighting against organized crime in the form of, say, drugs. I mean, drug laws operating in countries, taking over the countries. That is what we are seeing in the country, in this country. We have very senior political figures openly involved in illegal mining. So I think we need to come to a point that there is a moratorium on mining in this country. Except you can show us that we are deep pit mining. We should stop every form of mining. We should stop playing to the gallery. The so-called community mining things have failed. People have used it as a ruse to actually go into even into our forest reserves and areas demarcated. I mean, sacred areas. I was on a TV program with one of the people who have been at the forefront. I don't think I should mention it. And he said to us that he lost a child in the Takwa areas. And the very cemetery they buried the child, they can no longer find where they buried their own child to even have a memorial service or have periods they can go and observe the passing of this child, because people have mined such areas, cemeteries, sacred groves in our communities have all been mined. Why are we doing this to ourselves as a people? I think we have not done well. There must be a total moratorium. And then we must begin to take on these key individuals. And I'm starting with district chief executives, district and divisional police commanders, and chiefs in communities. Whenever such things occur, we should take these individuals on. And if we can begin to do that, the chief executives should be sacked. The police commanders should also be sacked. But the chiefs, we should publish their names and show everybody that these are chiefs who are involved in galamsey. If we begin to do that, and where necessary, we bring in the military to support the fight against armed galamseyers, I think we can begin to have a stronger fight. Where are the drones that were promised? All those things that were said, all those strategies that were outlined, what has happened to them? Where is the political will from all sides of the political divide? But I think there must be a moratorium. We should stop mining in the country until such a time. I mean, if we don't mine, what do we lose? What is the mining bringing to us as a people at all? That if we don't do it, this country will collapse. So now, that is my point of view.
I mean, this subject of placing a ban or a moratorium on mining, for instance, the sector minister says the conversation should go on, and there is no definite
We
decision as to
don't need
whether
any conversation.
there's no definite. Okay.
Nah, we don't need any conversation. We need action. That's what we need. We need action. If our very existence is at stake, why do we have to go and sit and talk again? What have we been doing for the last 6-7 years? Talking. What has been the results? None. So we don't need any conversation. We need action. The point is that we are not doing what we should do. So let us go ahead and take the actions that we all know we can do to stop this whole thing. So let's not begin by buying time by saying we need to talk. We don't need any, there's no need for any further talks. We know the strategies. We know what we can do to stop it. This is going to kill us. It's going to, already, there are serious health challenges in the Galamsey area. Already, the cocoa sector is in dire need. There's a serious challenge there.
It's in distress.
Agriculture is there. Our water bodies are being destroyed. Now we can't even get water to send to a lot of the urban areas. And we sit here talking, saying we need further talks. What are we going to talk about?
We need to talk about what alternatives we can deploy, because they say that the ban has not really worked. We did that in 2017.
Have they really enforced a ban? Have they really enforced any ban in this country?
You believe they didn't? You believe the previous ban was ineffective?
They didn't do anything. They just used this as a ruse for people to enter the forest reserves, go into our water bodies, go into our farming areas, just to destroy the land.
Oh, really?
They just used it. That is it. What has been done? If there is anything, if anything had been done, what is the result? Absolutely nothing. We've lost lives. We've lost our farming lands. We've lost our water bodies. We are losing even forest reserves. And we want to continue to talk. What are we going to talk about?
Time for an action is now, you say?
Absolutely. Without question. We have to go and stop this menace. Who are the people behind it? Who are the people granting the concessions? That's why I'm saying that state institutions have failed us. We said we are going to set up mineral commission officers in districts. What has it achieved? Absolutely nothing. Because people see it as another avenue to collect bribes and give concessions. So now, please, let's not waste any further time. And those politicians who want to make political capital out of this should bow their heads in shame. Successive governments have failed us. So for me, I don't want even to politicize it.
Both parties are guilty of that. Why do you think that?
Absolutely. And all of us know that there are people within these two parties, MPP, NDC, who are engaged in Galamsey activities. And I need not mention names here. We all know them. So let's stop playing the ostrich. We are being too hypocritical in this country. We know what we should do. We shouldn't waste any time saying we need to engage, we need to talk. We don't have to engage anybody. We know the people, the wrongdoers. We know the people who are complicit. We know the institutions that have failed us. What else are we waiting for?
So if we know all these, why do you think action is not being taken? Because consistently we hear that there are big wigs behind this. We've heard a member of parliament say, the speaker of parliament say that even some members of parliament are involved. In the past, when there was a Galamsey conference sort of, the Otumfuo did say that many of the people, even here, they should do a survey. Some of the culprits or kingpins are partakers of that conference to talk about how to deal with the illegal mining menace. So if we know that there are bigger fishes behind the scenes, employing the younger ones or other people who are lesser known to degrade the environment in this form, why are we not taking action? Because everybody keeps saying we know that there are big people behind it, but then again, nobody ever gets really arrested.
You see, that is why I'm saying the performance indicators we give to our district chief executive. Why aren't we making the fight against Galamsey one of the key indicators? The question, very recently, a few weeks ago, Otunfo, bestowed some chiefs who were known to be actively engaged in Galamsey. Otunfo can bestow chiefs. Why can't we sack chief executives? Why can't we sack police commanders who are complicit in this? Why? We sent military troops to some places, and the situation became worse because they were even compromised. We know political figures in this country, from ministers, from members of parliament, from district chief executives, who are known to be complicit. Party chairpersons and at the various levels, constituency and regional levels, who are known to be complicit in this. What have we done to any of these? Zilch, nothing. They have even become powerful individuals. That's why I'm telling you, this is organized crime. And until we see it as organized crime, we know we have also seen pictures and videos of some people involved in this who are wielding sophisticated weapons. And we sit here, we allow them to continue.
At the moment, a lot of CSOs and groups are speaking up. The Ghana Medical Association has spoken. They've asked that we place a ban on it. Yesterday, there was a joint press conference. The Ghana Journalists Association spoke there. The labor, organized labor, for instance, the Deputy Secretary General of the Ghana Federation of Labor, Kenneth Kumsin, they also are demanding a declaration of a state of emergency in Galamsey affected areas to halt all mining in forest reserves, and they are also asking for the creation of special courts to prosecute offenders, and then the deployment of the military to dismantle mining equipment. Some of these things we have done before, but you saying that with the increasing voices, governments may be forced to take action, or because of the period we also find ourselves in, it may be, minimal action but little results?
No, for me, what we need to do as a people to remove the politics out of this, let us all put pressure on government to start, to begin with a moratorium to stop the mining, the illegal mining, so to speak. And then when we see a situation of another political party using this Galamsey as a basis for campaigning, let all these institutions come out and openly condemn the political party, as we saw in 2020. In the lead up to the 2020, we saw Kwabena Buahin, also whatever his name, the former NDC communication officer, with Dr. Tony Obin and some party members of the NDC going into Galamsey areas, saying, when we come, we will allow you to carry out your illegal activities. Let them come out to condemn them. You see, the hypocrisy in the system is that the current government might start something, and the opposition party might use that against them, and we all keep quiet. So the government also begins to think, they fail to look at what is right for us, but they begin to look at winning the next election, but not doing what is right by us.
Is that not the problem then? Because you are elected to fix problems. If you are doing what is necessary and your opponent is politicizing it, it must not stop you from taking action if indeed that is the right thing to do. It is only it's only a party that is just interested in winning elections that will focus on that. Why does our governance have to be about only winning elections and not fixing problems?
But you see, they will tell you that the essence of a political party is to win power. So that is their primary concern. The issue is also that there are institutions that must help guide what the political parties do. Today, the institutions are getting up because we are facing a menace. But I think if we only let it remain at coming out to talk about the matter when there is a challenge, we will fail to get the institutions to also, the key parties, at the end of the day, it's the political parties that are going to be in power. So if we don't shape them also, if we don't call them to order, I'm not even absolving the government of the day, the party in power, I'm not absolving them, because they have their own people actively engaging in the Galamsey menace. But the point is also that when the other side also misbehaves, and it may not even be all the members of the other side, groups, individuals, because for me, I see that there are individuals who are criminal-minded, and they ride on the back of the legal institution of political parties to carry out their illegal activities. Because if you have a party chairperson who is, criminal-minded and chooses to engage in galamsey, and they go into their political parties, use their monies to become key people in their political parties, if their parties win, they are going to have opportunities to undertake their illegal activities. We should call out these individuals. I don't ever see any political party as criminal. But it is the individuals who join the parties who have got criminal agendas, and they go in there to prosecute them. We should call them out and ensure we can sanitize our political system and our political parties, because the parties are only institutions. It is the people in them who can be criminal. So let us work at ensuring that we can get people in our political parties to do the right thing. And it includes civil society. Like all these coalition we are seeing, the lawyers are talking, the doctors are talking, the civil servants are talking. Let us call out these politicians who are criminal-minded and get our country back, get our water bodies back, get our farmlands back, get our economy. The cocoa sector is suffering. If we don't do that, and if we only want to target one side, we'll fail. That is a fact.
The political class keeps saying, let's not politicize it. But then again, they end up politicizing this whole Galamsey fight. So you'd have one party saying that, well, when we come, what we are going to do is to grant amnesty to these younger people who are involved in Galamsey, and then would go after the kingpins. And we'd also hear, for instance, the running mate of the NPP talk about excavators to miners and all that, and is also creating a lot of concerns and raising a lot of issues. He's issued a statement clarifying that it is not exactly what people are saying it is. But then again, why is it that consistently they say let's not politicize this, but they themselves are politicizing the issue?
Because they could all have been complicit. I don't know why we are getting this double speak. For me, it's an indication of complicity in it. And again, I am happier. I do not want to leave this in the hands of the politicians. I want to see active civil society involvement in getting this matter resolved. So when you have institutions like the civil servants, the You have the doctors, you have the lawyers, you have key institutions like the religious bodies talking. Then we are putting pressure on the politicians who have got power to do the right thing. So let us keep on with this coalition. I mean, I know there are planned demonstrations or public engagement. Let us encourage it. My own church, the youth in my church, Presbyterian Church of Ghana, we call them the Young People's Girls. They are planning a demonstration. So it tells you that people have become aware of the menace. And we don't need the politicians to tell us they know the answers to everything. They don't have all the answers because they don't have the political will to do it. We need to compel them to do the right thing. If a political figure like a running mate says something about giving back excavators, and now they see there's pressure coming on them, so they are issuing statements to try to, clarify or even change whatever they said, we should condemn it. If a leader of opposition can come out and say that his policy is that he's going to free people who are in jail and that he's going to go after the campaigns, who are the campaigns? Does he really understand the challenge we are facing? Because you go to certain communities, it is not about campaigns. It is these small miners who are actually engaging, destroying the water bodies and the farmlands. So it is not only about campaigns. Yes, there could be campaigns. But there are also small players who are working for themselves. They are not working for anybody. So nobody should come and tell me or come and throw dust in our eyes that it is only bigger people who are involved. There are people who are using hoes and cutlasses and pickaxes to engage in galamsey. And they are equally destroying the forest areas and doing all manner of things. So let nobody tell me that it's only campaigns who are engaged in that. And of course, there is an element of foreign nationals who are also engaged in this. So it's a major problem. And people who don't seem to understand the problem should just keep quiet. They shouldn't talk about it.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. We're grateful. But just a quick question. This one has to do specifically with the...
You are going to talk about Pius Adidim.
But yes, briefly. I was going to ask you briefly about Pius, about his utterances about, promising his constituents that if should he get the opportunity to be MP, he would assist them travel abroad. He's done that for Australia and stuff like that, and also promising a free exit among others. What are your thoughts on some of these utterances?
My question is he serious? Should we take him as a serious politician? Please let me leave it at that.
You think he's not? You think he's not being serious?
I'm asking you. Do you think he's a serious-minded person?
But this is someone who wants to become MP, oh?
So that is my question. I want our viewers and listeners to answer that for me.
Okay. All right. But the final one I also want to ask is, with the running mate of the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, he's having instances where he will make points and then they will have to subsequently issue statements to clarify, and among others. Some say that it's a source of concern.
Well, I cannot really. It is about his first statement he made about Kwame Nkrumah.
There was that one, and there was a backlash. Yes.
There is this second one about the excavators.
The second one being God sleeping, and then now the excavators.
The second one being what, please?
He says God sleeps, and he got a lot of backlash, and he had to, clarify his points and all that. And now this excavators issue.
Well, let me say that he is a novice in the game. He will learn his lessons. But when you make such gaps, consistently, I think it eats into your credibility. So his handlers should support him to do what is, to present himself in a better light.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much for your time. We're grateful that you're able to speak to us.
You're welcome.
You had to speak to local governance analyst Dr. Frederick Odro. We spoke to him about this illegal mining menace. He says that it is an organized crime. We should treat it as such and depoliticize it. And about the minister saying that there needs to be more conversations around this issue. He says, no, the talking stage is over. We have talked and talked and talked about this. We cannot continue talking. This is where we need to take action, and the time to take action is now. Let's still have the conversation. Yes, the president appreciates all the conversation happening and all that. Our minds are not made up yet as to whether we're going to issue a moratorium or a ban on the activities of mining. Dr. Frederick Odro is even saying, let's just put a moratorium on mining in general, because what have we really benefited from mining gold? Ibrahim?
Yes. Every day the conversation gets different legs, right? Yeah. Initially the call was on ban against illegal mining. I said, how can you ban an illegality, right? And then, of course, it got tuned to ban against small-scale mining in general. I've heard the minister say that we've been on this route before, where there was a freeze on mining activity as far as the small-scale sector is concerned. And then we decided to put in place measures, including deployment of brute force, right? It didn't work. But you see, my challenge is that collectively, or the powers that be, is not addressing its mind to how and why it didn't work. That's it. We are talking about things we did that didn't work.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention to why it didn't work.
It's been more about, we did it before, it didn't work, so why now? Exactly. But why didn't it work before?
Exactly.
What introspection have we done to ensure it didn't work? I mean, Frederick Odro was saying that there was no progress with that ban because it wasn't made to work. It was just a way to allow others in.
That's it. That's a challenge. So, and now in fact, mind you, when we started the fight against Galamsey, the country was not going through an economic crisis.
No,
the country was not. Galamsey has returned in its worst form because in between the first ban and where we are today, there was the economic crisis. And so you hear people tell you that now the community is much more embracing of Galamsey activities than ever. Because you go to the market women will tell you that, our wares are being sold. Now, when we go to the market, we make money. The cocoa farmers are cutting down their cocoa trees and selling their lands. And you heard the minister talk about the fact that there is no way a Galamsey activity will take place without the knowledge of the chiefs and the traditional leaders. That's true. Why have they turned a blind eye? Because it's beneficial. But as I always say, as a country, as a people, we do what is inspected, not what is expected. So, we are lamenting because our expectation is that everybody will do right by us.
Yeah.
The citizens must know better, right? The traditional leaders should know better. People in government should know better. The opposition should know better. No.
They know, but the fact that they know better doesn't mean they will do better.
That's the point. That's the point. So we surrender the coercive and then the authority of the state to you, to use it when it matters, to get the people to do the right things. And unfortunately, that's where the problem is. The deployment of the coercive powers of the state to ensure that everybody behaves relative to the fight against Galamsey. You see, the environment is very forgiving. Now, if we put the brakes today, in less than 3 months, the water bodies will return to their original colors. The trees will grow again. That's how forgiving the environment is. What is left for us is to pull the brakes and hit the pause button. Unfortunately, that's where the challenge is.
Are we committed?
See, you are asking Samuel Semensa, the Ashanti Regional Minister, to fight Galamsey, right?
Yes.
You are asking which other regional minister do I know?
Eastern region.
Eastern region.
It's
yeah,
happening in the Eastern region, right?
Yes, of course. That's Galamsey. Sete Champon, a good friend of mine. You're asking Sete Champon to fight Galamsey, right?
Yeah.
Sete Champon has been regional minister for almost 4 years now. I know the work he led the Operation Galamstop to do. I know. And I know the ramifications and then the whisperings and what have you. What didn't we hear about excavators being seized and the calls that came in telling whoever has seized the excavators that these belong to ABCD?
Free the
Didn't you see the video from the Eastern region where there was this clash between the Ochihenes task force and then the operation members of the operation one, and there were gunshots.
Yeah.
That was in the Eastern region. So yes, it's good, and that's why I agree that yes, the talking stage should be over. But unfortunately, that's the stage that we are all comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will remain there for a while. We'll remain there for a while.
D for the main.
D can equally be for the B.
Oh, really? What's that? DG.
Hungry man say fix the